Good afternoon, dear students. Yesterday we discussed about the raw materials that are used in production medium, which is used in fermentation industry. And I told you about various type of raw materials that can be used. Number one, carbohydrate material. Okay. And there carbohydrate materials are classified into three types. Number one, saccharine material, which includes molasses, fruit juices, and whey. Starchy materials, it includes cereals and root tubers. Cellulosic material, which includes sulfite waste liquor and wood molasses. So yesterday we discussed that there are variety of raw materials that are used, okay, and most of them are agricultural products or agricultural byproducts, waste generated from agricultural products or byproducts, and we prefer using crude nutritive sources which are cheaply and available and economical too. Okay, so what are the different classes? Carbohydrate material, hydrocarbons, vegetable oils, nitrogenous material, and distillers soluble. So today we are going to discuss in brief about carbohydrate material. The first is saccharine material, which includes molasses, fruit juices, and whey. Now let us understand what molasses is. Molasses is the byproduct of cane and beet sugar industries. Okay, when sugar is being manufactured from sugarcane juice and sugar crystals are removed, the liquid, the spent liquid that remains behind after removing crystallized sugar is called as molasses. Okay, so molasses is the byproduct of cane and beet sugar industries. It is the mother liquor recovered at any of the several stages in sugar refining process. What is it? Mother liquor recovered at any of the several stages in sugar refining process. The chemical composition of cane and beet molasses is slightly different. It depends upon the quality of the sugar cane you are using, variety of the cane and beet. Cane molasses is also known as black strap molasses. Okay, we are going to discuss about three different molasses. Number one, cane molasses. Number two, beet molasses. And number three, invert molasses. Okay, now the cane molasses, that is the molasses that is obtained after removing cane sugar, is called as black strap molasses. So let us discuss what is black strap molasses. It is prepared from sugarcane and it is the cheapest and most used source of sugar for industrial fermentation. Okay, it is prepared from sugarcane and it is the cheapest, most widely used source of sugar, or you can say source of carbohydrate in industrial fermentations. The average chemical composition of cane or blackstrap molasses is, it contains water, sugar, ash, nitrogenous compounds, free and combined acids, gums, and vitamins. Now, 95% of the total sugar that is present in blackstrap molasses or cane molasses is fermentable. Okay, 95% of the total sugar present in cane molasses can be fermented. It is rich in phosphorus, sulfur, pantothenic acid, thymine, and biotin. What? Okay, it contains water, sugars, various sugars, ash, nitrogenous compounds, free and combined acids, gums, vitamins, phosphorus, sulfur, pantothenic acid, thymine, and biotin. But the organic nitrogenous content of cane molasses is less than beet molasses because it is deficient in betaine. Okay, it does not contain betaine, it is deficient in betaine. How do you generate, or how do you get blackstrap molasses? How it is prepared? See, in the commercial preparation of sugar, juice from the crushed sugar cane is concentrated to allow the crystallization of sucrose. Okay, so sugar cane juice is prepared, it is subjected to heating, it is concentrated, and sugar is crystallized. The crystallized sugar is then separated from the mother liquor. The mother liquor is further concentrated to recover additional crop of sucrose. The procedure is repeated several times until the further recovery or crystallization of sucrose is not economical. Okay, it becomes costly then. Okay, so sugarcane juice is prepared, concentrated, and sugar crystals are separated. Again, the remaining juice is subjected to concentration and sugar is crystallized. And so this process is repeated multiple times till sugar extraction and concentration becomes very costly. So then the liquid is left behind. The mother liquor is then not further used. Okay, at this stage, the mother liquor still contains 52% of the total sugar, of which 30% is sucrose and 20% are invert sugars. This mother liquor is known as molasses. Okay, black strap molasses or cane molasses. Right? So, cane molasses contain almost 52% of sugar, that is 30% sucrose, 22% invert sugar. So, it is rich in sugar, but crystallization of sucrose is not economical, so it is thrown away, and that molasses is used as a good source of sugar or carbohydrate in fermentation industries. Okay, the next type of molasses is beet molasses. They are prepared by using the procedure similar to that of cane molasses. It contains various sugars like sucrose, glucose, fructose, ribose, arabinose, and trisaccharides like raffinose. It also contains amino acids. It is rich in amino acids like alanine, glycine, glutamic acid, aspartic acid, arginine. It is rich in vitamins like thiamine, pantothenic acid, betaine, and pyridoxine. See, betaine is absent in cane molasses, but betaine is present in beet molasses. However, beet molasses is deficient in biotin. So, whenever you are culturing yeast or growing yeast using beet molasses, you have to add a small amount of cane molasses because yeast require biotin for growth. So, whenever you are cultivating any organism on beet molasses and if the organism requires biotin, you have to mix cane molasses into beet molasses because beet molasses is deficient in biotin. The third type of molasses is invert molasses or high test molasses. Okay, it contains 70 to 75% of sugar. Okay, and it is produced in a slightly different manner as compared to cane molasses. Invert molasses is also made from cane juice only, sugar cane juice only. So sugar cane juice is partially inverted. Partially inverted means what? It prevents crystallization of sugar. Okay, when sugarcane juice, instead of concentrating and crystalline sugar, it is subjected to partial inversion. Inversion means what? See, sucrose is a disaccharide, but upon inversion sucrose is converted into monosaccharides, glucose, fructose. Okay, so the sugarcane juice is partially inverted to prevent crystallization of sugar, that is, sugar is partially hydrolyzed into monosaccharides with heat and acid. Okay, so acid hydrolysis is performed. It is then neutralized and concentrated without the removal of any sugar. Thus, high test molasses contain maximum amount of original sugar of the cane juice, although it has been partially hydrolyzed to D-glucose and fructose. Okay, so cane molasses or invert molasses are high test molasses. They contain high concentration of sucrose, 70 to 75%. From the sugarcane juice, no sugar is separated. It is subjected to partial hydrolysis or a partial inversion using acid. Okay, so acid and heat. So some amount of sucrose is converted into monosaccharide, glucose and fructose, and the remaining sugar is still present. This concentrated liquid is called as invert molasses or high test molasses, right? High test molasses is not available all the time throughout the year because it is produced when there is overproduction of sugar cane. Okay, because sugar is not separated at all. It is as it is kept, okay, to be used as molasses. So it is available only when there is sugarcane overproduction. It is not available all the time. So high test molasses contain highest amount of sugar in it. Now since molasses are readily available, easily available in all parts of the world all the time, it is largely used as a raw material as a source of carbon. It is mainly used in alcohol industries for the manufacturing of, for production of ethanol, rum, brandy, gin, whiskey, etc. All alcoholic beverages can be prepared by using molasses as a raw material. The second type of carbohydrate material is fruit juices. Okay, second type of carbohydrate material. First, molasses. Second, Fruit juices. See, fruit juices contain mostly soluble sugars. Say, for example, grape juice contains sugars like glucose and fructose, and hence these juices are used as a good source of carbon in fermentation industry. So, fruit juices are also a source of carbon. Grape juice, say for example, is used in the production of wine. The grape juice is called as must, which is highly acidic. It contains 17% weight by weight sugar, 1% tartaric acid, some amount of malic acid, and 0.3% potassium and phosphorus. Nitrogen content, however, is low because low nitrogen content is desirable. So fruit juices like grape juice are used for production of wine, and they contain sugars, acids, ash, little bit of nitrogen content. Okay. The third type of carbohydrate material is cheese whey. A straw colored liquid that is obtained as a byproduct in cheese making process during the curdling of milk is known as cheese whey. Okay. So a light yellowish colored liquid which is obtained during cheese making during the process of curdling is known as cheese whey. Okay. See, whey is a straw colored liquid that remains behind when you separate the curd. Okay, even at home when you prepare the curd, okay, and you take out the solid part of the curd, a liquid, light yellowish colored liquid remains behind. That is called as whey. And the whey that is obtained from cheese industry is called as cheese whey. It is rich in protein, sugar, lactose, fats, calcium, potassium, magnesium, phosphorus, vitamins and water. So whey is also a very good source of carbon or carbohydrate used in fermentation industries. The second category of carbohydrate material is starchy materials. Okay, starches are also good sources of carbohydrates. Right. There are two main sources of commercial starches. Number one, cereals, which includes wheat, rice, maize, etc. Root and tubers like potato, tapioca, etc. The moisture content that is present in cereal is less, whereas the moisture content of tubers is very high, like potato, sweet potato, tapioca is very high. Cereals contain protein. Cereals like wheat, rice, maize that we use in industries contain proteins, fats, soluble carbohydrates, crude fibers, mineral matter. So they are rich in all these ingredients other than being the good source of carbohydrates. Root tubers like white potato contain starch, protein, water, fats, fibers, ash. Okay. Now, when we are using starches as a source of carbohydrate or as a source of sugar, they require pre-treatment because starches are polysaccharides and they need to be converted into smaller molecules of sugar. So, starches require pre-treatment to bring about the conversion of into fermentable sugars. Okay, so starches are pre-treated, they are subjected to hydrolyzation for conversion into fermentable sugar. So this pre-treatment can be done accomplished by either enzyme hydrolysis or by chemical processes. Okay, so chemical or enzymatic methods are used to treat starches so that they are converted into fermentable sugars. So that is about starchy materials. The third category of carbohydrate material is cellulosic materials. They are complex carbohydrate material, right? Like starches are complex and polysaccharides, cellulose are also polysaccharide. But cellulosic material that we use are complex. They are made up of cellulose. Okay, cellulosic material contains cellulose. Cellulose is a complex, you can say, homopolysaccharide made up of repeating units of beta D glucose. Okay, beta D glucopyranose, and the beta D sugars, beta D glucose molecules are joined to each other by beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. You can look at the sugar molecule. You have studied all these things. You can see there are repeating units of beta D glucose which are joined to each other by beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Okay. Now, there are two categories of cellulosic material that are used in fermentation industries. Number one, sulfite waste liquor, and number two, wood molasses. This we will discuss in the next class.